All right, court has placed both persons under oath. Mr. Guerrero, the court has heard that there's an agreement that both you and Mrs. Guerrero be appointed joint managing conservators over your child, which means that both of you will have the same rights, duties, responsibilities, and obligations over your child, except that Ms. Guerrero will have the exclusive right to determine your child's residence, and that child support will be at $450 per month beginning on April 10th. Is that your setting aside visits, possession, and whether they will be supervised? Is all of the rest your agreement with Mrs. Guerrero?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was anything left out?
No, Your Honor.
Is there anything you want to change?
No, Your Honor.
Do you believe that this agreement is in the best interest of your child?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same questions to you, except your name. Is your true and correct name Alejandra Baby Guerrero?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you hear the agreement that was told to the court by the lawyers?
Yes. Yes.
Is that your agreement with Mr. Guerrero?
Yes, ma'am.
Setting aside the visits and the supervision, is that your agreement with him?
Yes.
Was anything left out?
No.
Is there anything you want to change?
No.
Do you believe that this agreement is in the best interest of your child?
Yes.
All right. So that just leaves visits and supervision. Who of the two parties, Mr. Garcia and Mr. Chu, is in disagreement with standard visitation?
We are, Judge.
Attorney for Mrs. Guerrero. Tell the court why.
Number one, Dad is out of town in El Paso, Texas. The child is here in Laredo, Texas. Dad has not visited with the child since December of 2025. The child is under 3 years of age.
And what response do you have to non-standard visitation, Mr. Garcia?
The child is 2.5 years old, Your Honor. It is correct that he hasn't seen them. However, my client had a relationship with his son. He is planning to come down from El Paso over here, and he's planning to exercise his standard visits if the court allows it, and he would be here with his son, Your Honor.
But I guess, Mr. Chu, I guess the question is the standard visits, is it only because of age, or is it because Mr. Guerrero lives in a place more than 150 miles outside of Webb County?
Both, Judge. The age that he resides outside of the 100-mile range and the situation that caused the breakup of the parties, that's the reason why we're asking for supervised. There will be an application for a protective order that will be filed probably within the week, Judge.
But it isn't filed yet. So let me ask you, Mr. Garcia, what objection do you have if it is in fact, and I've heard it from your client, I don't need to take it as true from Mr. Chu. Your client said that he was in Fort Bliss. So if he resides more than 150 miles away from Webb County, tell the court why the standard possession order involving parents that reside more than 150 miles apart shouldn't apply to this case.
Well, my client say he's fine with that, Your Honor, with applying it for parents over 150 miles. He's willing to come down here. He's willing to give notice to Ms. Guerrero when he's of the weekend that he's gonna come, and he's willing to drive down. She doesn't have to go over there to drop off the child or pick up the child.
All right. So if the court heard both parties correctly, both of you have the agreement that standard visitation applies for persons that reside more than 150 miles apart. That is so ordered. It is by agreement. It is stated on the record. So the only disagreement then is supervised visits. Who here is requesting that the visits be supervised?
We are, Judge.
The basis for the request, Mr. Chu?
The basis for that request, which would be the faults in the breakup, which we would recently, my client would file the application for protection, saying why she was asking for the supervised, because the incidents that of domestic violence happened with my client and the child was present.
All of that is just argument, not testimony. But assuming that Mr. Chu could get in then testimony, what would your response be, Mr. Garcia?
My client denies that, Your Honor. He was telling, from what he tells me, there was a CPS case that was open against Ms. Guerrero. So I've never heard of him or any situation where there was police or anyone involved to arrest my client for domestic violence.
Well, it sounds like if there is a protective order pending, or if there's a possible CPS case that isn't before the court, it's all based on hypotheticals until they're actually proven. I guess, Mr. Chu, since this is your matter to prove, let me place, actually, they're both under oath. So elicit some testimony, because I guess this is going to be based on solely testimony. Mr. Chu, who is your first witness?
My first witness is Miss Alejandra Guerrero.
Ms. Guerrero, you're under oath. The lawyers will start asking you some questions. Mr. Chu, go ahead.
Miss Guerrero, would you please state your full name for the record?
Alejandra Baby Guerrero,
How old is your child with Mr. Guerrero?
2.5.
Where were you residing before you moved back to Laredo, Texas?
El Paso, Texas.
Okay. What happened? What happened to cause you to move back to Laredo, Texas?
Just disagreements, disagreements that would lead to physical, like, just physical, disagreements. We're just scared, a lot of financial abuse and just emotional,
Okay. How did Mr. Guerrero hurt you?
when he has thrown me across the room or shoved each other, or I would lock myself in the restroom.
Okay. And when was this, Miss Guerrero?
The time I spent in El Paso,
Okay. And when was that?
between March 2025 and July 2025.
Okay. And did you have your son with you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when was the last time that Mr. Guerrero had a visit with his son?
December 30. The last time he saw him was December 31st, 2025.
Okay. And were you able to retrieve your son after the visit?
Yes.
And how were you able to get your son back after that visit?
The commander of his company implemented a no contact order between him and I. And
Okay. How did that no contact order come about with the commander of his company?
I had called, he had kept my son from me and called the police on me. And then I called his sergeant, that this is what's happening. And then the sergeant went to the commander, and then they
Okay. So let's go back a little bit. What was happening for you to contact the sergeant of his company?
he was refusing to give me back my son and threatening to take him back to El Paso. And
Okay.
he had called the police on me too.
What was the result after you contacted the commander of his company?
I didn't personally contact the commander. I just contacted the sergeant, and they told
Okay.
me. And then
Okay. What was the result? Did you get your son back?
yes,
Okay. Thereafter, has Mr. Guerrero been in contact with his son?
no,
Thereafter, has Mr. Guerrero been down to Laredo to visit with his son?
no.
Explain to the court why you would ask for supervised visitation with your son at Safe Haven here in Webb County, Texas.
He's never really taken care of like the child, and never spent time. I don't trust like the anger issues, or I don't feel safe like just leaving like my son with him like alone.
Your son is 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
what has Mr. Guerrero, how has Mr. Guerrero been able to take care of him?
Well, he's never taking care.
Has he fed him, bathed him, changed him?
No, not really. I always did it, and if the son was with him, it would always be his mother, my mother-in-law, taking care of the child mainly.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination, Mr. Garcia?
Yes, Your Honor. When you mentioned that, Ms. Guerrero, that you couldn't pick up your child, did you have an agreement with Mr. Guerrero as to whether he was gonna have the child so many days, or there was no agreement?
There was no agreement.
Okay. Did my client ever hit you?
Yeah,
Do you have any pictures of where he hit you? Can you repeat that, Ms. Guerrero? Okay. Do you have any, did he ever hit your child?
no,
Okay, and you're saying that he hit you, did you ever call the police?
no.
Okay. As far as you know, has Mr. Guerrero ever been arrested?
He has a DUI, drunk driving and crashing.
Does he have anything for domestic violence?
No, just no.
Okay. Do you have a CPS case against you?
I had one open, but they closed it. It was just I don't currently have an active one open.
Okay, and what was it for that you have this case?
It was open because of the incident we had back in December of 2025 when I couldn't obtain my child from Mr. Guerrero. It was just to make sure everything was fine, and everything was, and they closed it within.
But when CPS was checking if everything was fine, they were checking everything was fine with you or with Mr. Guerrero?
No, like that I was capable of taking care of my child. I was okay. He was safe. He was fed. He has everything.
Okay, and has Mr. Guerrero ever been with his son prior to this? Prior to the December incident, I mean, what were his visits between Mr. Guerrero and his son?
He didn't have any proof of work. He had only seen him around his birthday, my son's second birthday, and back in December.
Okay, and prior to you guys separating, did you guys live together?
Yes,
Would Mr. Guerrero come home every day?
yes,
Okay. So Mr. Guerrero did have contact with his son.
I'm sorry?
So Mr. Guerrero, when you were together or living together with him, he would have contact with his son.
Yes,
Okay, and your son is how old?
2.5 currently.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Anything on redirect?
No, Judge.
Any other witnesses, Mr. Chu?
Mr. Roy Guerrero.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Would you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, my name is Roy Alexander Guerrero.
Mr. Guerrero, you have a child with my client, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Mr. Guerrero, did you did you grab her wrist and throw her to the ground?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes,
You did.
yes,
Okay. And this was in front of your child, Amaro?
yes.
Okay. And Mr. Guerrero, you have not visited with your child since December, is that correct?
In a way, yes. I did come down early February. I had asked to see my child. They denied visitation to my child. I've kept in contact with him through video call, through messages, to which I've been blocked both on Facebook, iMessage, and she won't let me contact my son anymore.
Okay, okay. And Mr. Guerrero, if you were to take your child for the weekend, where would your child be?
In El Paso, Texas.
Okay, so you would drive down, pick up your son, visit with him, and then drive back.
Yes, and he can stay here in Laredo if he wants to. It's whatever she's comfortable with. I'm not going to force her for me to go to El Paso. If she wants me in Laredo, that's fine. Preferably, I would like to be in El Paso with my son. But if it's uncomfortable towards her, I respect her decision, and I will stay in Laredo. If that makes her secure.
If you were to visit your son in Laredo, Mr. Guerrero, where would you visit with your son?
2310 Grisel Drive, parents' house, his grandparents' house.
Okay. And you're willing to do that if the judge grants you a standard visit?
Yes.
Okay. And what problems do you have if you were to visit with your son at Safe Haven on Saturday and Sundays?
I don't believe it's fair, especially since I haven't been able to see my child. I'm not able to make sure he's okay. I'm not sure if he's okay right now. I had to call the police about a month ago to make sure my child's been okay. She won't contact me. She won't call me. She won't send me pictures of my child. My mother-in-law won't send me pictures of my child. And it has to be me going to the police and saying, hey, can you check up on my son? I haven't been able to see him. Situations like that in which I have not been able to see my son, and I've been denied access to my son multiple occasions by my mother-in-law. My father-in-law won't even contact my father anymore for visitation. My grandparents haven't seen my child since December 30th. I haven't been able to see my child physically, and through a phone call is a whole different situation. Of course, it's nice to see my son to the phone, but I need to see him in person, and he needs to see me in person. He's his father physically in his life.
Are you, do you work on the weekends?
Maybe repeat that.
Is your schedule where you're available on the weekends, Mr. Guerrero?
Yes, I'm available the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. I work Monday through Friday.
Pass the witness, Judge.
Anything on cross?
Just a couple of questions, Your Honor. Mr. Guerrero, so why is it that you want to see your son in accordance with why do you want to see him unsupervised?
I don't see why I should be supervised to see my son. We both gave birth to our son. He's ours.
Okay, and when you were together with your son before the separation with your wife, how would you interact with your son?
Oh, I would play toys with him. We'd be playing in our little baby room. We'd be playing little with cars. I bought him a train set when I came down to Laredo during Christmas. I got a bonus. I got him a bunch of toys, Spider-Man toys. I would always go to Target with me, my wife, and my son. Always buying my son toys. I'm a gift giver myself, so I love buying stuff for my son. We'd be going to the park, the playground, at the mall. You name it. I mean, we go out to eat all the time. I would spend time with my son. I would change his diaper. I would change his clothes. And the matter of fact of me saying that I wouldn't do it, a lot of the times I was tired from work. I would come home after an 11-hour, 12-hour shift, especially because we were in a field cycle, going into work at 4 a.m. and coming out at about 6 p.m. Multiple occasions. At times, it would seem that I wouldn't want to take care of my child. As a matter of fact, at the time I didn't want to because I was tired. There's no excuse. I should have been taking care of my child, and I see it now different, that I should have been a better father and I should have been a better husband. And from what now I can do is just be a better person and a better father. The past is the past. What I can do is just change the future and make myself better for my child.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
That was cross. Anything on redirect?
No, Judge.
Any other witnesses, Mr. Chu?
We rest.
Witnesses, Mr. Garcia?
We rest, Your Honor.
Brief closing, what your client requests and what evidence or what testimony supports that request. Mr. Chu, go ahead.
Judge, in closing, we ask that Your Honor, because the child is under 3 years old, that the child's not ready for overnight visits. We ask the court, if the court is going to grant any visits, it'll be through Safe Haven, Saturday and Sunday here in Laredo, Texas, from 12 to 5 p.m. on Saturday and also Sunday, Judge.
And
I'm sorry, the time you're requesting is when, Mr. Chu?
Either 12 to 5 or 10 to 5, Judge, whatever Safe Haven has and available.
Same thing, Mr. Garcia, brief closing, and tell the court what your client is requesting and what testimony supports that request. Go ahead.
yes, Your Honor, he's requesting that the visits be unsupervised. There hasn't been any evidence that he's had problems with the child, Your Honor. I think they have problems between both parties, but not with the child, Your Honor. He's shown that he does want to be a father for his son. He wants to be there for him. He wants to drive down here. He wants to see his son, spend time with him. He hasn't seen his child in several months. So my client, Mr. Guerrero, just wants to be able to have some time with the son, Your Honor.
I guess let me ask you this, Mr. Chu. I understand the request for supervised visits, and it sounds like the supervision, based on the testimony here, isn't so much for the protection of the child as much it is for the protection of your client, given her testimony on the history of abuse. So then the question then is, Mr. Chu, does she have any objection to parental grandparents being the supervisors?
I don't, Ms. Guerrero, do you have a problem with Mr. Guerrero's parents supervising his visits?
Yes, I do.
Tell the
And
court
can you
what
tell the
date
court
is.
why?
They just, I know his parents don't respect like what I wish for a model and like certain things, and I know the mother to be very like inappropriate around like my son and around like me and the child. We're fighting for supervision with Mr. Guerrero, not his parents, and like that's it.
I apologize to you, Ms. Guerrero, and I don't know if it's the muffled sound of your microphone device, but so I understand the request for supervision for Mr. Guerrero because you're alleging that he did things that were not right. But the court's question is, following that train of thought, what objection, if any, do you have to his parents being the persons that supervise in other words, if you were to deliver your son on one day and pick him up the same day from his parents so that he could visit with his child and his parents would have to supervise that visits, what objection to you would you have to that order?
Well, I just every time Roy, like Mr. Guerrero had our son, he would leave him with the parents, not watching him. I know he wants supervision with like our child, but I just feel like he wouldn't watch him and leave him with his parents. And I don't feel comfortable just letting his parents like be the ones like to be there.
And tell the court, flesh it out. Tell the court, what is the source of your discomfort
They
with his parents?
I know his mother, like my mother-in-law, his mother, she's very like inappropriate on the child. Like she walks around like in underwear, and, like she doesn't like respect the things I want for my child, what I think is appropriate. They don't respect me as a person. They say a lot of like rude things about me, or like I don't feel like they would respect anything I would tell them to like advise for the child or to act properly around him.
So then let me ask you this, Ms. Guerrero, if not Safe Haven and if not his parents, what other persons do you believe could provide this safe and loving supervision for your son?
Well, I know my mother's house has always been like opened. Like my mom, what's it called, was always very willing to go out of her way for like Mr. Guerrero is just, she she has cancer, so she's going through a lot of medical stuff. That's why she stopped keeping up with him, because she had other things to take care of herself being. And I know my parents' house is always open, and they are willing to just, be cooperative and flexible with Roy and Amaro and my son.
After Mr. Guerrero allegedly engaged in this behavior with you, do you think your parents would be okay with supervising his visits?
Yes, I personally wouldn't want to be like around him.
You would want to be around him?
I wouldn't.
You
But-
would not, right? Well, that I understand that. Mr. Guerrero, unmute your device and tell the court what, if any, objection you have to Mrs. Guerrero's parents supervising these visits.
To be honest, I don't have any problem with them supervising my visits. Of course, I really wouldn't enjoy it compared to, just having my parents around our family, taking care of our child. I understand, if she wants her mother to watch me take care of our child, I don't objectify to it. I mean, if she wants to do that, she can do that.
And let me ask you this,
However-
Mr. Guerrero, it sounds like you have a fairly okay relationship with her parents. Is that the case?
I forgive. And there's been occasions where I don't agree with my mother-in-law.
Sure.
My father-in-law and me were never on any bad terms. We've always been okay. But there's been multiple occasions that me and my mother-in-law will argue a lot. However, I don't have anything against her. I believe in
But you
forgiveness.
have no
Word of
problem.
God.
But do you have any problem with your father-in-law supervising these visits?
I do not have any problem with my father-in-law. I do not.
Ms. Guerrero, does your parents' home, does it have sufficient space for Mr. Guerrero and his parents to visit there?
Oh, yes, there's plenty of space, and
All right. Cause number 2026 FLA 380C3. The court at this time finds that it has jurisdiction and it's waived, even if it doesn't, because nobody has objected. The court adopts and approves the agreement with the parties, finds that it is in this child's best interest regarding the standardized visits that has already been agreed to. Regarding the supervision, I think there is sufficient information in the record to permit the court to have those supervised, at least until we come back for a final hearing on June the 4th, 2026. The visitations will be supervised only by Ms. Guerrero's father. No other person, not her mother or any other person, should be present or around. They can and will take place on a weekend of Mr. Guerrero's choosing, on Saturdays 12 to 5, on Saturdays 10 to 5, on Sundays 12 to 5, and from 2 to 5 p.m. his parents may, but they don't have to, participate on those visits on Sunday. One more time, on the weekends, 1 weekend per month of his election, Saturdays 10 to 5, Sundays 12 to 5, and 2 to 5 his parents may, but don't have to. They'll have access to this child. Thoughts, comments, questions, or objections, Mr. Chu?
No, that's great. Thank you, Judge.
Thoughts, comments, or questions, or objections, Mr. Garcia?
None, Your Honor.
These are the temporary orders of the court, and the temporary orders are due to the court honor before.
April 27th at noon by submission.
Mr. Guerrero, do you have any questions for the court?
Apologies, Your Honor, but if I may, I would like to take my son to church on Sundays. If we could do a swap on Saturday and Sunday for the time frame.
It's denied. You should have asked that when you were testifying. Do you have any other questions for the court?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Guerrero, do you have any questions for the court?
no, Your Honor.
I wish you both very well, but more importantly, I wish your son all the best. Mr. Garcia, Mr. Chu, always good to see you. Have a great day.
Same
Thank
here,
you,
Judge.
Judge. Have a good afternoon.